from Nairobi, whether you're in Singapore or you're in the United States. Good evening, good morning, hello to you all. I'm delighted to welcome you. My name is Vishal Agarwal. I'm the president of Thai in Africa, and my day job is I'm the CEO and chairman of Full Circle. I'm delighted to be here today to introduce my dear friend, Harish Iswani. Harish is the managing director of Tolaram Group in Africa. He's part of a conglomerate that's based in Singapore, was founded in the 40s in Indonesia. Harish came to Africa 30 years ago, pretty green and pretty young at the time, and he has set up a world-class conglomerate that has set Africa from an FMCG manufacturing standpoint on fire. He is my friend, he is the Noodle King from Africa, employs 18,000 people on the continent. With no further conversations for me, here is my dear friend, Harish Iswani. Harish.
Thank you so much, Vishal. Thank you for the very kind introduction. I still remain young, Vishal, despite being 30 years in Africa. So good morning, good day, and good evening to the folks who are listening. I'm here to tell you a story about my family's journey to Africa. So Tolaram Group is a 70-year-old family-owned group, but it's basically professionally run by professionals now. Family members actually do not run day-to-day in the business. We started in 1948 as a humble tailoring shop in Malang, Indonesia, where the founding family put down roots after we had to leave the Sindh province during the partition of India. And over the years, we established our headquarters in Singapore and then expanded mainly into textiles manufacturing and trading across the globe until the late 70s. And in the 80s, the family moved to Africa in 1976 first, and we moved to Nigeria. I personally moved to Nigeria in 1988. And so oddly, it just started off as a visit to Nigeria. I actually went to visit my brother in Nigeria, and I said, okay, I'll come and spend a weekend with you. And it's been a very, very long weekend in Africa. The journey for us in Africa is very interesting as a family. We've created a business that's now crossed more than 1.4 billion in turnover in Africa alone. And the key to our success is, I think, professionalizing our business in Africa. And we have 4 pillars of business as a group. The 4 pillars of our business are, the first one is the fast-moving consumer goods. The second one is infrastructure. The third one is finance. And the fourth one is in the power sector. The fast-moving sector for us, fast-moving consumer goods sector, started off with us venturing into instant noodles. I brought in containers of instant noodles in 1988 into Nigeria. And the first recollection I can tell you about it was that everybody laughed at us. You know, all the people who saw noodles said, Africans will never eat noodles. And I said, why? They said, well, Africans will not be able to eat noodles with their hands. And so the first 2 containers that we brought into Africa, into Nigeria, we had to actually give it out as samples. Rather than getting it expired as expired products, we just gave it out as samples. And then we decided and said, look, we've got to do something about this. And someone taught us a good lesson. He said, you have to teach Africans how to eat noodles. And that's how our journey actually started in creating what I would consider a new eating habit in Africa. Now all over Africa, people are eating noodles, and our brand Indomie has become world famous in Africa. And the journey was not a short journey. It wasn't an easy journey, right? There's no such thing as ease of business, of doing business in Africa. You have to go through a lot of roadblocks and issues before you can become a success in Africa. It took us almost 10 years of building our noodle business before it became acceptable. And we are now very proud to say that we crossed almost $800 million in just the noodle business across Africa. And we are also a case study in the Harvard Business School of how we establish a business into Africa. Our second pillar in the fast-moving consumer goods. After Noodles, we decided to venture out and develop more business. But for the first 15 years, all we did was just focus on marketing and manufacturing noodles. Then along the way, we developed a good partnership with many other world-renowned companies. One of them being Arla. Arla is the top 5 in the world for milk and butter and cheese. So we created a manufacturing plant in Nigeria with Arla, and I must say it's been a very good partnership with them. With Arla's partnership, we created more joint ventures, and then the next partner that we took along was Kellogg's. Kellogg's, as everyone knows, is a large American multinational. And with Kellogg's, we set up the first cereal plant in Africa after 70 years with Kellogg's jointly. And we built that in Nigeria. And within a year, expanded the plant to a higher capacity. After Kellogg's, we took our journey onwards, and then we have now started a joint venture with Colgate. And Colgate is actually building with us their first toothpaste and toothbrush plant in Africa, and that's also in Nigeria. Why do we place a lot of emphasis on Nigeria? I think partly because the family was very well rooted there, and I spent almost 30 years of my life in Nigeria itself. And then before moving out to Egypt, Ghana, South Africa, and now we are moving into Kenya and next to Ethiopia too. And after Colgate, we then have another joint venture with another multinational, and this time we've tied up with Kimberly-Clark to distribute their products in Nigeria also. And you may be wondering, why are we so bullish about Africa? I think the key thing, what makes us bullish about Africa is its people. Africans are very hardworking people, and you have to imagine how they work given the infrastructure that they have in Africa. In most parts of Africa, there's no power, there's no clean water, and even in some cases, there's not good transportation. But despite all these hardships, Africans are willing to go to work and contribute to their own economy. So our journey has been successful in Africa because we've had a very close relationship with the communities in Africa. And as long as we are fair and firm, we are able to work our journey through successfully in all our countries that we operate in Africa. Sorry, just 1 minute, please. Okay. In the infrastructure sector, we have now developed 2 projects. The first project that we are developing in Nigeria is a port project. This is the first independent and largest port to be built in Nigeria. And I think, if I'm not wrong, it's also going to be the largest port in terms of capacity in West Africa. I think the only other place that has a larger capacity is probably South Africa. And we've managed to create a consortium of partners working together on a PPP project that allows us to work with the government, our partners, and create this project and show to the world that Africa is ready for such investments. And we're now building a 2.5 million capacity per annum of container terminal. And along with that, we're going to build a bulk terminal and a liquid berth on second phase. Our second infrastructure project in Nigeria is building a free zone. Our free zone has an area of about 800 hectares. And this is, again, the first independent, privately owned free zone in Nigeria. And the objective for us to create this free zone is to allow a work-play environment for investors to come in and put their investments into Africa. In this case, it's in Nigeria. And we found out that if in Africa you build infrastructure, people will use it. And I think government has lacked in terms of building infrastructure for its own people. So it's the right time for private investors to actually come out to Africa and look at these opportunities, because the returns are also reasonably exciting when you do such project. Our third pillar that we have within the group is in finance. And in finance, we own I would say a medium-sized bank in Africa, and we have ventured out into a fintech project in Indonesia, which is basically a money wallet project in Indonesia. And we have also, as investors, invested in quite a few fintech projects in Africa. And I must say happily that some of these investments have paid off very, very well. And why I would suggest that people look into Africa for fintech investments is that where is the money going to go in this world, right? If you look at it carefully over the last 1 year, China has probably attracted about close to 100 billion in fundraising. Where is this money going to go, right? America is not accepting Chinese money. Europe is saturated. India and China are not getting along very well. So basically you have just two continents that can attract this money. It's either Asia or Africa. And from what we have seen over the last 2 years in Africa, the returns for investments in fintech have been really phenomenal. Excuse me. And our fourth pillar of business is in the power project. And in the power project, we do two types of business. One is that we do projects across Africa for World Bank and government-funded projects, and it ranges from procurement of products to building of substations and transmission lines wherever the projects are. We also have a license to do an IPP project, which is about a 700 megawatt license to do it in Nigeria. It's currently on hold, and it's primarily currently on hold because the regulatory framework is not really in place yet. But hopefully by first quarter next year, this would be sorted out, and then we would embark on this. So these are our main projects across Africa. And I must say that the opportunity in Africa is just tremendous. And if you walk all over Africa, and I have had the opportunity to go probably to almost 24 countries within Africa, there are a lot of opportunities. There's just plenty of opportunities available within Africa. And the key thing is that you must have the will, you must have the stomach power, and you must have the ability to navigate difficult circumstances if you want to do business in Africa. And there's no ease of business, of doing business in Africa. You just have to be able to navigate your way around. And you can navigate it professionally, and you can get things done if you make your case strong enough. And I must add that there's a lot to give in Africa too. So for us as a group, we have decided that almost 5 years ago to create a foundation. So 25% of our group now belongs to a foundation. So it's quite interesting when you build a foundation that you realize that you can do so much wherever you are in the world. And for us in particular in Africa, because we have a lot of businesses there. And it's when you reach out to these people in Africa, you realize how resilient they are, how hardworking they are, and how compassionate they are. You know, and I've always said, right, despite the circumstances that they live in, challenging circumstances, they still manage to wake up and smile and, you know, go to work happily. And in our experience, in particular in Nigeria, in the last 30 years that we have done manufacturing in Nigeria, we've never had a situation where we've had to close our plant or our workers go on strike. You know, it's been peaceful for us, but like I said, you just have to follow a certain policy, and so long as you are fair and firm, people are very happy to work and, you know, contribute to your work. Vishal, I think that more or less sums up for me a little bit, maybe a little bit early on my timing, but I think unless you have any questions,
Thank you,
like to ask me.
Thank you, Haresh. This has been fantastic. Haresh, you have ended up moving from sort of the traditional business that you started to doing fintech stuff and investing in technology and becoming a pretty active angel investor. Tell us a little bit about that journey and tell us about backing founders in Africa and why are you doing that? And tell us a little bit about your mental state as you journey that piece.
So I think the fintech journey started for us when we ventured out in Indonesia first, and then I think with you and a couple of friends, we ventured out to a couple of ventures on our own in Africa. And if you look at where the world is moving to now, that's the way to go. You have to invest in the future and things that have to do with AI. And more, our investments that we are looking at now in future has to do with less of physical touch. You have to look at businesses that have less physical touch. So in my new investments that we are doing as a group, one of our philosophies is that 50% of our investments must be into companies that are led by women, right, in any sector. And we found, coincidentally, a couple of opportunities in Asia here to invest in fintechs that are actually funded and sponsored by women founders. And I think COVID also has taught us quite a lot of things in terms of how to now move forward in our journey. And the journey forward has to be with technology. You cannot just stay as it is. It's going to be less of brick and mortar business. So we are also internally redefining our business and saying, okay, what is it that we need to do to move forward? So I think fintech's growth in Africa is going to be phenomenal, Vishal. Sorry, I think I lost you a bit, Vishal. Did I lose you there, Vishal?
Thank you, Harish. That was absolutely fantastic. If I could take one more question, I see one more question, and Harish, very quickly, you touched upon this. I know you and I discussed this a lot. Gender expansion is really important to us as leaders, as investors, as folks that work with mentees all day long. Talk to us a little bit about your journey, Harish, on within your group. How do you view gender expansion? What are you doing to promote women in senior roles, to back women and diversity in your various different businesses?
Yeah, I think
having said that, we're pretty diverse to begin with, but having said that,
yeah, you know, one of the things I learned in my journey in Nigeria when I was selling noodles, my biggest supporters were women, right? And I think we became successful as a group was because the women distributors helped us in our journey, and they were really the anchors to take us there. So about 10 years ago, we internally had a lot of discussions, and we said, look, we are lacking in terms of empowering women into senior positions in our group, and we said we must definitely make an effort. And in fact, I'm actually proud that, you know, when we hired our legal team, all 5 of them were women, and they actually proved to be extremely successful for us, and they are still 80% are still with us. So, and then when we started looking at funding projects and we look at investing in startups, I think when Africa Launch Fund was done, I did mention to the founders that, look, we must look at promoting to at least 50% of projects that are. So I think it's a conscious decision, Vishal. We have to consciously promote it, and the talent is available. And within our group here, if I look at our head office in Singapore, it's almost 65% women running our show here. So I think it's a conscious decision, Vishal, as a group that we want to promote this.
Thank you, Harish. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm told that we have over 4,000 people who've tuned in to be with us today from all over the world. So from Africa to the world, we are proud to have Harish Aswani with us. Thank you, Harish.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, Vishal.